Hello once again, everyone. My name is Dave, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between dedicated hosting and cloud hosting. So, as many of you can see, I have my Rackspace After Hours flag behind me. This signifies that I have worked 2 years on third shift for Rackspace hosting. Um, my position at Rackspace is I am a cloud virtualization engineer. So that means I understand cloud virtualization extremely well. I am one of the escalation points for the entire company. Any issue that comes across any of our admin's desks comes straight to me, and I address it and try and correct the issue. It's my objective today to explain to you the differences between what a cloud server is and what a dedicated server is. And I hope I can get that message across. So to start out, in 2006, Google CEO Eric Schmidt coined the phrase cloud computing. What cloud computing basically is utilizing a virtualized server on top of a physical server. So let me give you a little example here, and it's the best way that I can explain it to you. So in a dedicated box, imagine this Tupperware bin is your actual physical server. Within that server, you have your data. Say you wanted to add more data into this. Well, you only have a finite amount of space and a finite amount of resources that you can use within this physical container. Well, with cloud hosting, it ends up being just a little bit different. And brings my first point that cloud is better at scaling than dedicated hardware. In a cloud system, what you have is multiple servers within one physical box. So here you are. We'll call the lid the hypervisor layer. This is the part that I actually manage. It allows me to look into the actual hardware and see what everybody inside of here is doing. So inside of here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 different virtual servers, all within the same container. So say you have server A, and as you can see, it's stuffed pretty full. There's not much space left in here. So say you're the customer, and you have your 20 gigabytes worth of data here. You're currently using, I'd call it about 15 gigabytes of data. Say you wanted to add more data into this. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think that another 18, 15 gigabytes is going to quite fit in here. So what we can do in the cloud world is initiate what we call a resize. Basically what we do is we create a larger container. And then we take, and you can put your new data in there. And then we take your old data out of your server, put it in the new server, package it up, and this is going to be a little bit of a tight fit. And then there you go. You now have your new larger server. And excuse the prop, it isn't quite the best. So then we put you in that new host, and there you are. And then you've got your neighbors, which are also in the same physical server, all underneath the hypervisor. That leads me to my first point on how dedicated and hosting is very different. In a cloud hosting system, you can scale at any moment. You can say, hey, look, I want to go from 2 gigabytes of RAM and 40 gigabytes of hard disk with 1 virtual CPU and move up to 2 virtual CPUs, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 80 gigabytes of disk space, and this is accomplished in underneath 20 to 30 minutes. Well, with a dedicated server, you first have to get on the phone to the salesperson. You have to say, hey, look, I need a bigger server. We're outgrowing our needs. Well, okay, it's going to cost you X amount of money. Well, that all depends on with what specs you put on this new server. With cloud hosting, everything is set in exactly double. So a 1 gigabyte server, say let's say $20. A 2 gigabyte server would be 40. A 4 gigabyte server would be 80, and so on and such forth, up until with Rackspace we offer as big as 512 gigabytes worth of RAM and 2.4 terabytes worth of storage data in a cloud system. So, and you can scale that up and down at any time. With the dedicated box, what you have to do is, as I said, call in, hey, I need a new server. How much is this going to be? Once you get that figured out, then you have to wait for legal to get it approved. Then you have to sign contracts. Then parts have to get ordered. You have to wait for your standard 3 to 5 day shipping. Then you have to wait for that system to actually get put into the actual physical server rack. Then you have to wait for it to get turned on, then configured, then thrown behind the load balancer. And you're looking at days, possibly 2 weeks, to take a physical server and go larger. On the other side of the conversation, there are many benefits to hosting on a dedicated instance. This is just you. There's no one else on this physical piece of hardware. So you don't have to worry about your neighbor overutilizing their network resources or getting a denial of service attack pointed at them or anything of that source or anything of that sort. You are free in your own means with your own dedicated networking. On the cloud side, once someone starts getting attacked, the entire physical host with all those servers on the inside gets slowed down. But you're looking at a cheaper price point per gigabyte of RAM versus a dedicated box. On the dedicated side of the house, as I said, it's just you. You don't have to worry about any of that. There are also a bunch of other features that you can get on the dedicated side. It's a little bit too much to go into. And the same thing with cloud. My biggest thing when it comes to cloud versus dedicated is you have to utilize what is best for your company. If your company has had a website for 15 years and it's been the same thing and you don't change a lot of data, then a really small dedicated box would probably be more efficient for you. Whereas if you're a very dynamic, growing company, working in the cloud with some dedicated boxes in what we call a hybrid setup is more than likely going to be the best thing for you. So I hope you enjoyed my speech today. I hope you learned something. And please, just remember, everybody likes to say, oh, just host in the cloud, or oh, just buy a dedicated box. The biggest thing is you need to sit down and figure out what is best for you and what is best for your company. Once you have determined that, then you need to start looking at the different hosting providers. Once again, my name is Dave. Have a nice day.